Marty Schwartz here with Marty Music, with my guitar teacher who taught me in college, taught me everything, Chris Sherlin from Curious Guitarist.
Hey, everybody.
We've got two techniques that you may have overlooked to completely change your blues soloing. And those two things are vibrato tips,
Yes.
which I always was amazed at your vibrato when I took lessons with you, because it was like, those are like those finer nuances.
Yeah.
Like you've been playing a long time and that's like your voice.
Right.
Your sound, right? And you know, you think of a B.B. King vibrato, it's unique. Different guitar players' personality can really come out in it.
When you hear good vibrato, you're like, that person knows what they're doing.
Yeah, Van Halen.
Yeah,
amazing. And then the other technique are these little mini bends, like in between the notes.
Right.
But only a few spots. It can't happen on any note.
You got to be careful.
But so those are the two things. So, because I get asked all the time, how do I get better vibrato? And I do kind of remember you talking about the weight of the guitar off of your finger.
One of my favorite things to talk about. Yeah.
Well,
because
glad I've got you here.
Well, you know, vibrato is, I mean, really what you're doing is you're changing the pitch, right? You're moving the pitch of the note up and down, but it's very easy to get, you know, sort of dissatisfactory vibrato if you don't really have an idea of how that physicality works. So when I saw, I think it was Billy Gibbons, maybe? I think I saw him doing something and it looked like this. And there was a lot of stuff going on, right? The guitar was moving up and down. There was extra sounds coming out. And I really studied that for a while. And what I noticed was that it felt like, and what I've sort of boiled it down to, is that you're using the tension of the string and using the guitar, the weight of the guitar, to start this pendulum motion where you pull the string down, the guitar reacts, you push it up, and then you've got this sort of return to center where your vibrato isn't just going off in some weird place. Like for a moment, imagine that my vibrato is really sort of nervous and it's all generated by muscle. I can get into
I've heard that.
I can get into a weird spot where I'm pulling the note sharp and I'm shaking it, right? But if you bounce the weight of the guitar in your hands, you always return to the center of the pitch again. Now, it's not easy to do, and one of the things that I really focus on is this sort of fulcrum idea of getting your that first knuckle against the guitar, so you've got some leverage, and then using the string, that tension of the string, against that leverage point of the fulcrum of your hand, and just moving that guitar back and forth. It takes a little while because sometimes you're like,
right. Oh yeah.
That, you know, it takes a minute.
And you don't have one session where all of a sudden you have perfect.
No, you have 1 year of doing this.
Sounding a little less bad, less bad.
And it's not really that long, because once you start focusing on something really small and detailed, your cognition, all of the things the brain power that you have gets focused on one small thing, and you progress really fast. But if you try to work on vibrato while you're working on some other thing, some crazy thing, and then you're trying to throw vibrato into that, and then what scale am I playing? It's just too much.
Too much thinking.
It's too much thinking.
And we're guitar players.
And really? Is that what's going on here?
That's a great tip. I give that same tip because I learned it from you. I learned it from you, Dad!
You're not my dad!
But I would say that you practice the counterweight of the guitar fulcrumed off of the note.
Yeah, right. And do you also feel that sometimes, especially when you're bending with you've got
For sure. And then you also have the vibrato on a bend.
Now that's important. So what's the difference for you with that?
Find the pitch and then the exact same technique holding the bend.
Right. And then the vibrato goes around the pitch.
Right. And you can still feel it's still the same vibrato.
Yeah. You know what I remember recording myself and listening back, and I remember this one time when I had heard myself playing, I had bent a note up, and then I applied vibrato, and it was like, I never want to make that sound again, although I just did. Sorry, everybody. But it's a demonstration, right?
Yeah.
And so just getting up to that pitch, like you said, and it's almost like you get up to the pitch, and the first thing you do is relax the pitch. right? And then you go in between it. You're going above and below it, because without that pitch, if you're up here somewhere,
the only way to get vibrato on an open string is with your whammy bar, right?
Which we don't have
on
here.
that.
No,
Why
no.
I wanted to punish you.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. So that was technique one. Now let's talk about those little micro bends, and I mean that's what I call them. But for instance, if you're on the root, the worst thing you could ever do is start to bend that. See, hold it in. But so let's look at the A minor pentatonic.
Yeah. So let me just show you. Whenever I play the scale, it's almost impossible for me not to do this. And that bend is
some people might not even know what you just did.
Right. And because it's now it's ingrained in my DNA and I want to hear that sound. But without those bends, same thing with the bends. There's just a little moment, right? And what I'm doing there is I'm taking all of those C notes and I'm bending them slightly. Because that distance between the major third, which is the third in your A major chord, and that minor third that's in the pentatonic scale, there's a little note in between there.
But I think it's also on the G note too.
The G note, yeah, absolutely. So it's on a few notes, and if you think of the blue notes, if you think of these as blue notes, it's off the minor third, it's off the flat 7. There's some room in between that flat 7, which is a whole step below the root, to goose that. The one that's vastly overlooked is the 4 bending to the flat 5, or
yeah,
almost.
man.
So this is the coolest one. So the 4 is this note, the 5 is this note, and the flat 5 is here. But bending to the flat 5, and then there's another one in between the 4 and the flat 5 like this.
There it is.
Whoa, spooky. And there's a lot of room in there.
You have to have your ear to be able to do that.
Do you? Yeah, we're good. Keep rolling. When you, again, focus on something like a micro focus on one thing, this is great ear training, right? So here's the 5. I can really hear when I'm there, right? Get the cats out of the room, the dogs, get your wife out of the room. And then you're really training your ears. And then guaranteed, next time you hear a blues tune, you're like, whoa, that's the flat 5, because you've been there. And then another one of my favorites is bending the 2 up to the flat 3. It's like that major pentatonic sort of.
Right.
But using that in a blues context like this, check this out.
So here's one I've only done since spending time in Nashville using the 9 there.
Yep.
Is this one. Well, because I would go, right, or, but I got this one.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, and then you can add this one. So like this, check this out.
Yeah.
Right? And stick them both together.
Once again, want to thank my guitar teacher, Chris Sherlin. His site and YouTube channel is Curious Guitarist. We got links below for you to check out. Also, Chris and I produced an Intro to Music Theory for Guitarists course. It's available at martymusic.com. Appreciate all your guys' extra support. Go check out his channel, subscribe, and we'll see you in another video soon.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, man. See ya.